I'm perplexed as to why anybody would want to actually talk about their personal life, in voluminous sort of platforms. I cherish my embarrassment, and I cherish my kind of privacy, and there's certain things you talk about, and I love that, and I think certain things should be not spoken about, and that applies to the music that I like to make, and it's great. I love poetry. I love spoken word. I love narratives. I'm not a great reader. I didn't do well at school. I left school early. I'm a builder, basically. I was a builder, but I love the idea of extracting great words out of objects and things around you, or places that you live, places that you visited, or memories of places. I love that. And if you can extract poetry from that's perfect for me.
When the boy who had come far from the days in the milk bar made them turn on the bar stool, they were straight from the houseboat. We say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi. And they called Jack the Sand King. He had girls playing sweet strings, and he said only one thing: we go roll, rollin', rollin'. We say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi. And we say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi to the rivers and the mountains. We say hi.
I really enjoy that moment when we're playing the songs, where we're out and touring and playing the songs. After that, there's always a period when people will come in and ask you to collaborate. Films is a big thing that I'm interested in. I work with Tim Gain from Stereolab. He lives in Berlin. We do soundtracks together. So that's another very creative. I mean, he's a great guy, and we think very similarly. So that's something where we kind of cherish that sort of part of our lives, where we write for film, and that's about to start happening again in October, November. And then I've been lucky enough to be asked to work with a number of special projects, very specifically art projects, specifically asked to make music which actually lives within art itself. And that's been going on for about 10 years, mainly with a guy called Jean-Pierre Muller, a Belgian painter. I mean, he loved our music, and he felt that there was a kind of visual aspect to our music which reflected his visual work. His work is kind of, it's easy on the eye. It's painting and screen print. It mixes impressionism with pop art, and they're big paintings, and they're on unconventional surfaces. The musical painting was a literally freestanding oh man, it's huge. The freestanding painting was like framed with panels, and the panels could access music which was within the painting, and you could remix the music within the painting. So it was a live remix. It was a remix painting. He's moved on. He's actually on a project now called 7 by 7, and that's where he's working with 7 composers who are given 7 major keys, A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and those keys are related to the 7 colours of the spectrum. So C, which is my colour, third colour of the spectrum is yellow. So I had to compose a piece of music in C, to do with and pertaining to the colour yellow. But he's got some great guys on board. He's got Robert Wyatt doing one, Archie Shepp, Nile Rodgers from Chic. This is most of the people, a lot of people remember Nile Rodgers. Terry Riley, who was a minimalist composer from the 60s. So there's some Cassine Kamal, a Brazilian composer, some extraordinary people working on this. That's still in the process of being completed, but most of my composition's done and my painting's done, and I think most of them are done. If you look out for that, that'll be probably coming in the next 12 months probably.
We talked about a Riviera, a place where people wanna be, well below the bending river. The sight was there for all to see. The finest sights they are in
Llamas is very odd. We started off. I was working with Stereo Lab. I was within the High Llamas, and we were, as a band, we were trying to drag melody back into pop music, which now there's lots of it, but back then there wasn't. You know, there was a lot of. It was quite a barren time, the early 90s, and then since then, I do believe that the work we did back then has actually had an effect on the way people write songs now. You know, like using strings early, using things like banjos, bringing harmony back in, using orchestration, you know, small orchestration, not pompous adult-like orchestration, but fun, experimental orchestration, kind of addressing musics from like parts of America, Brazil, French music, film music, Italian music, electronic music, mixing it up, just spreading, kicking the door open, and just not saying, well, it's either the Beatles, the Beach Boys, or the Velvet Underground, which for years, anybody who's as old as I am, you know, they'll remember a time when you open the music papers and it was either the Velvet Underground or the Doors, and you know, it's just very monotonous black and white times, you know. And I think there's so many more influences around, and I think that's reflected in the music that you hear. So. We're still going. We're still there's no big business. There's no big record company. We're in a great small label in America called Drag City. We've got a small group of people that we work together. We're friends, but we're legitimate. We don't have to sort of apologise for being around. We've got the right to exist and to be here playing music the same way somebody like Robert Wyatt would, or Scott Walker would if he made a record again. I believe that, which is a nice position to be in.
It's a house, it's not a resort. Take my hand and run it through the sand. Ocean views and white weatherboards. Take my hand and run it through the sand. Take my hand and run it through the. Take my hand and run it through the sand. Take my hand. Take my